My name is Mercy McCulloch Hasselblad, and I'm the author and the illustrator for The Artist in the Clay. And today I wanted to read it to you. So this is The Artist in the Clay. Long ago and far away, there lived a wise old artist who loved to make beautiful things. He lived high in the mountains where the air was cold and clear. But this artist didn't create normal, dead art, because he wasn't a normal artist. He loved his art so much that life flowed through his hands as he worked, giving life to his creation. His studio was filled with wonders no one had ever seen. One day, the artist started forming a little boy out of a lump of clay. He wanted this project to be the best he had ever done. As he worked, he started talking to the little boy, telling him all he had planned for him. As the little boy started coming to life, he was confused. Who was he? Why was he here? But as he began to listen to the soft voice of the artist, he began to understand. Slowly, bit by bit, the artist chipped away pieces that didn't belong, molding him carefully and lovingly. One night, the little boy decided to explore. The studio was filled with sleeping creations, but he was actually curious about what was upstairs. He had seen the downstairs on walks with the artist, but they never went upstairs. When he got to the top, he found the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. It was a very old stained glass window set high in the end of a long attic. He stared at it for a long time. The moon made it look like it was glowing. He thought this was what all of heaven must look like. After a while, he got cold and decided to go back to bed. On his way back down the stairs, he saw himself in a mirror. He stared at himself curiously. A bad feeling started to come over him. Why didn't the artist make him as beautiful as the stained glass? He started to get mad. When the sun rose the next day, the artist rose from his bed, eager to start work on his new creation. First, he tried to sand down a rough part. The boy's hand came out and pushed the artist's hand away. The artist looked at him curiously. The little boy had never reacted this way before. If you want to grow, you have to let me make you better. It might hurt a little, but it's worth it, he tried to comfort the little boy. But I don't want you to make me like that, the little boy said. I want to be that piece of stained glass upstairs. He thought if he looked like the stained glass, he could be happy forever. The artist replied, I make everything for a reason. If I just made everything the same, it would be boring and useless, even if I made everyone like the stained glass. The little boy pouted, but I want to be like him. Do you know what he used to look like? The artist asked as they went upstairs to the attic. The little boy shook his head. Once, he was just a piece of broken glass. He had no life, no purpose, and no beauty. I found him in a junk heap. When I brought him to life, he knew he could trust me. He was so happy just to be alive, and he let me do whatever I wanted. Because of that, I was able to make something truly amazing. You are the same in some ways. You were both created by me and were created to love and trust me. But what kind of artist would I be if I created everyone the same? You each have a special purpose. Some of my creations like to talk, and they're good at it. But if the world was full of people who like to talk, nothing would get done. And if there were only people who like to do things, sometimes they would forget to ask why and just do things without a reason. And on and on. Each of them helps the other. A messenger isn't much use without his lowly horse. He would have the message, but he wouldn't get very far. People have different talents for different jobs. The little boy thought about the artist's words. They made sense. He had seen what the artist was talking about. Okay, he said finally. You can do what you want. The artist smiled. His heart was very happy. Now he could create something truly beautiful. Every day, with the help of the artist, the little boy grew a little more. The artist was kind, forgiving, and infinitely wise. Because of this, the little boy grew to love and trust the artist very much. And although he didn't know it, he was becoming something very beautiful indeed. One day, the artist had a visitor, a young girl from the neighboring village. She liked to look around at all the fascinating things in the artist's workshop. Suddenly, she saw something new. She stared at it in amazement. She pointed to the shelf where, standing proudly, was a knight in shining armor on a strong black horse. They didn't look like they were made of clay. The artist had polished the knight's shield and sword until it shone. The two of them had been refined and worked with until they looked ready to spring to life any second. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. The artist smiled. That's what happens when the clay lets me work with it. And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it, and I would love to hear your comments below. And I'm also including in the description a link to where you can buy this book. It's kind of a children's book, but a lot of college-age kids tend to like it, and which makes sense because I wrote it at a crossroads when I was in college. And thanks for watching.